Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Zagar. Things look different. Unfortunately, this video is going to have to be recorded on Zoom because whatever I was doing with my phone on QuickTime before didn't work today and it didn't work yesterday, and I refuse to accept the fact that I'm not meant to make these videos. Third line's pushing through. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story today about shamanic journeying. I don't do shamanic journeying. I don't call myself a shaman, but I did do it once and I did do it extremely successfully, and it laid the foundation for the work that I do now. So that's why I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about a very strange story. It might sound very fantastical. It might sound very magical. I'm going to cry and you might think I'm full of baloney. And that doesn't matter to me. I know what I know, and it did a lot to me, and it prepared me for not only the kind of work that I do now, but it prepared me for my development to become the person who does the work that I do now. Okay, so I have dabbled in many different things. I've explored a lot of different modalities. If I could show you my little library I've got here, you'd see a lot. I was very interested in anything that was spiritual, metaphysical, energetic, this world, other worlds. Like, what is magic? What is religion? What is spirit? What is God? What is source? What is energy? What's good? What's bad? What's light? What's dark? What's influential? What's mutative? Like, I want to know all of these things. And every time I've gotten into a system, I basically consume a bunch of it until I find something where I go, I don't know, not my jam, not for me, doesn't have all the answers I'm looking for, whatever. At one point, my direction led me to study shamanic journeying. Now, true third line style, first few times I tried to do it, it didn't work. Nothing happened. Now, I'm also someone who has had a very active relationship with marijuana since I was a teenager. I'm now 35. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. Either way, it's my primary plant ally. Now, there are certain things that teach that you should be of a sober and clear mind when you try and do them, or that there will be a lot more validity to your experience because you were of a clear mind. So it's worth noting that for this experience, I was entirely sober, and it was daytime, middle of the afternoon in my bedroom. I've got a book that is telling me, basically like a beginner's dummy guide to shamanic journeying. And I think most of y'all, if you know me, you know that I'm a fairly by the book person, at least in the beginning, until I find a very comfortable way to play and experiment with what the rules are. So in the beginning, the rule apparently was that you were meant to try and journey to a lower world. And I was like, what's a lower world, right? And you're supposed to try and imagine this like opening in the ground that you go down into. And it's my understanding that like basically at some point, like the journey starts or the journey takes over. I'm not very good with fantasy. I'm a gate 30. I'm kind of the crash of reality. I'm a little bit on like the disappointment, not the fantasy end of the spectrum. So every time I try and fantasize about like the opening in the earth and I go down into it, like the reality would take over and I'd be like, the water's coming up through the ground and now I'm drowning because I can't breathe underwater. And this, like, it's too human. My human rules were stopping me from being able to go under, and I couldn't figure out why. So I was getting a little bit ego pissed about it. And I was like, if that's not going to work, I'm not going to follow that rule. What if I try and go up? Okay. So my journey started with trying to go up. I'm a 90s kid. Video games were kind of like up and coming when I was a kid. Mario was kind of up and coming when I was a kid. And so there's a lot of like using images you've seen throughout regular life to help start or create a visual. And so I was like, okay, if I have to go up to an upper world, I'm not a bird, I don't fly, like how would anybody get up there? And I started seeing Mario. It was like hopping on the little like bricks going up into the sky. So I'm like, all right, hop, hop, hop. And in my mind, I can do this, right? I'm like, okay, hop on the rock. Okay, jump to the next rock. Okay, jump to the next rock. And it's like, I'm actually like trying, I think, so hard to like make the visual happen that it does. So this is the coolest thing, because you're like actively trying to make the visual happen. And as I'm hopping up, it just happens. Like I stop having to try. And well, God, I'm already emotional. I stop having to try and I already get to witness. Okay, so I'm like, hop, hop, hop. And then I have to jump from the top step. And it's like jumping into like an island in the sky, like a cliff mountain floating thing in the sky. And so I like jump onto this like little grassy edge, and there's like a corner of the cliff in the sky. And then there's this huge, like fenced gated area. Basically, where I've landed is a platform, and I can't go anywhere from here other than through the gates, but the gates are closed and locked. And standing next to the gates is this being. How to describe a being, right? I feel like this is kind of relevant. Extremely tall, and like stoic. Like everything is like tall and slender and ancient, so ancient, and everything is so gray. Like gray robe, gray hair, like everything about them feels ancient. If whether there's a staff or not, I don't know. There's like, and like they're just kind of an immovable force, and it's not, there's no good or bad. It doesn't exist. It's not like they are good or they're not bad. It's like that doesn't exist. It's, they're there. And then there's like, you know, like little me, like looking up at these gates and looking up at this big being of like, where am I? Where am I? And so then I realized like, I have a level of consciousness in this. Like, okay, I'm on an island. How, there are gates. There is a big being. I need to go through the gates. I don't know who that person is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But then it's like, oh, the awarenesses come in, and it's like, well, nothing happens if I don't engage. And so I look up at the being and I say, who are you? And I don't hear the answer, I feel the answer. And it's like, it's so, ooh, like guardian at the gate. And then I laugh, like I genuinely am like, ah, like, guardian at the gate, like obviously you're the guardian at the gate, like. And I also want to acknowledge like there is humor, there is joy. I'm laughing, I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous and kind of amazing. And okay, so you're the guardian at the gate, and I'm thinking like, well, how do I get in? I don't know how to get in. And then of course it hits me like, why don't you just ask, can I come in? Gates just open. That's one of the most significant lessons. Are you asking? Okay, so the gates open. Soon as the gates open, the new visual appears. And as the gates open, it's like they reveal a pathway. And the pathway is like this like trampled pathway in a forest meadow. And then we've got like the meadows along the side and then higher trees flanking the sides. So I immediately, as soon as the gates open, I'm pulled down this pathway. And I just know that I'm walking, but I know that there's a force pulling me forward. And I'm very aware of what's going on in the meadows and the forest and full of animals, but the animals are alert. They're looking at me, but they're not interacting with me. They're not interfering with me. They're not coming towards me. I'm not going to them. Like I really am being pulled forward. But the feeling from the other animals is like, what's she doing here? And not that I don't belong or that it's bad, but like someone's here. Like my energy is very, I don't belong there. I'm in a new place, right? Like it's not that I don't belong there, but I think you know what I'm saying. Oh, I get so So I'm being pulled down the pathway. And at the end of the pathway, I see a hut. And it's like, it's not straw per se, but it's like Duomo shape, igloo shape. I don't know. This is a very like historical hut kind of rounded top shape. And there's a smokestack and there's smoke coming out of it. And I know that I'm meant to go into the hut. Now, then I walk into the front door of the hut. And again, it's like, we're in like another, not portal, but like the whole energy and visual is changed. So I'm in this medicine hut and there is an elder woman in it. And I know that she's the medicine woman and I know that this is her hut. Now, as someone who identifies with medicine woman, such a big resonance came out of me and I got so excited. I got so excited because I thought, I'm here to meet a teacher. I'm here to meet one of my guides. And I'm so excited to develop a working relationship with someone who was like the embodiment of what I hoped to be. Now, what's interesting is while I'm there and I'm so excited, she doesn't acknowledge me. She doesn't see me. She doesn't pay attention. It's It's not that she doesn't know I'm there, but she doesn't prioritize paying attention to me. She does what she's doing. And what she's doing is, like, if the fire is here in the middle, she's going around the fire. And as she's going around the fire, she's mixing paint in a gourd. Now, the smokestack above her has things hanging from it. It has all of these different gourds hanging from the ceiling with different paints in them. And she's got one in her hand and she's mixing it around. And she slowly comes to stand right in front of me. And again, she hasn't said anything yet. And I'm in front of her and I start to get very emotional. And I say, I'm here so you can heal me. She puts her hand in the paint and she says, you're a warrior. And she hits me really, really hard and leaves a handprint on my chest, stares me right in the eyes and says, you will cry rivers and oceans before you're healed, and you will heal yourself. And I thought that was very dramatic. Rivers and oceans seems like a lot. And then the drum beat changed. So part of what I used to do this was a track of shamanic drumming journeying. It was about 20 to 25 minutes long. I can't remember, I think 22. And it changed. At some point, the drum beat changes, and that's like it's time to come out. And so as soon as she said, you'll heal yourself, the drum beat changed. It was time to go. And I turned and I ran. Like, I remember running as fast as I can, because you had to get out before the song was over. I don't know why, I just knew that. And I was awake, or then I was conscious, or then I was back to me. But holy, that happened 7 years ago. And it's one of the most vivid experiences I've ever had. And it was extremely significant in my life. And it's part of what gave me the foundational belief to trust what I see now. Oh. I made it through without crying. And I actually made it through before my next session was about to start. This was a hard one to record because it was not working in the beginning, but we did it. And I'm proud of myself. On to the next one.